Thank you guys all for coming. Super excited to see this many people here today. How did you guys all hear about the seminar? Sign? Yeah. Facebook? Awesome. Let me shut this off. So Wanda and Barb are with Staker Family Farms. They're master food preservers. They do a lot of different things. I'll let you guys, or let them introduce themselves and tell you everything about it. But thank you again for coming. At the end of the seminar, I have coupons for you guys, so you guys can come over into Shahela's Outfitters and get any of your supplies or anything that you desire. And so it's just going to be a really fun year. We're partnering up and collaborating with them to do a lot more seminars this year and teach you guys whatever you guys want to learn. So there's a clipboard going around if you want to put your name and information on there, if you want to get on their emailing list, if you are an emailing list. We only send out our ads. We don't spam y'all or anything. And then list what you guys want to learn about. So we want to bring what you guys want to learn about. Next weekend we are doing a seed propagating class. It will be in Shahela's Outfitters at 10 with the Lewis County Master Gardeners. So that's really fun, so make sure you guys come back for that as well. Teach you how to get your seeds going so you can harvest your stuff this summer. And then we just have some other fun events going on. We have our Love Shack, we do Santa photos, and then now we do our Valentine's photos. We've got Easter Bunny, we've got a lot of fun stuff coming. And so it's gonna be a great year. So I will turn it over to the ladies. So there you go. We are getting more chairs.
Lynn want to get mic'd up here?
We'll see. So we own Staker Family Farms. I am also Rustic Roots Jam and Company. We do local farmers markets around here, other counties around. We mostly sell beef, pork, chicken, lamb, some goat. This year we have added chicken stock to our product line. We will be adding beef stock as soon as we get it done with the WSDA. When we're selling stuff like this, I do have my processor's license. We have a commercial kitchen on the farm. But they just have to make sure that our process is down according to the FDA and that our bones that we use are all even USDA inspected. So we're just getting that finalization down with the beef stock. It's a little bit different than chicken stock, apparently. So, but with the chicken stock, we have added that recently, and along with, we also do a little bit of freeze-dried eggs, because we also have eggs, and the jams, jellies, syrups, all of that fun stuff as well.
I'm Barbara, and we do everything we're going to show you today. The first thing I'm going to say, we also do not believe in wasting food. So Juan and I are taking what we're using today, we take it home, and then we are finishing the process for our own personal consumption. It's not going into the food chain. Anything that you guys do according to USDA, FDA, WSDA, and all the rest of the alphabet, please remember you cannot supposed to resell. Technically, you're not supposed to even gift it if you've done it yourself at home. Okay? There's our disclaimer. I've said it. What you do is your personal choice. But I have to say that. We want people to be able to use everything, and we want people to be able to be self-sufficient and self-sustaining. And there's been a huge swing in our dietary requirements, suggestions, and all that kind of stuff. We've had a huge health swing too, and a lot of people are going to broths and stocks and bone broth. And the first thing I wanted to do real quick is let you know there is a difference between the three. If you go to the grocery store and you look at the back of all these boxes, this is the part that makes it complicated. Because the back of all these boxes, the first ingredient is chicken stock, even though they're selling it as chicken broth, okay? I researched this, I had to, because in order to do my stock, We had to know what we were talking about when the inspectors came out, when everybody was happy with what we were doing and that we knew what we were doing. The difference between your chicken stock and your chicken broth is the meat content. So yes, if they're going to make chicken stock, you're going to take your carcasses, your bones, all that, which we would classify as waste, so it's normally the back, what you're not going to use for fried chicken, and you can make your stock out of it. And that's a stock. A lot of people will put their vegetables with the stock. Put your carrots, your onions, your garlic.
Well, and even that, like when I am peeling carrots or my celery or onions, if I have scraps, it goes in a Ziploc in the freezer. And then I pull that out to add to my stock when I'm ready to use it. Because all of your scraps actually make wonderful stock, even the onion skins. You can put in with your stock.
Yeah. And that all can go in. And that's your stock. So then when you get down and you're talking about broth, the broth has the meat in it. So if I cut up a chicken and I do the same process with it, technically you don't need to put the vegetables and the seasoning in it. You don't have to. But it's the meat content. With the stock, you're not using as much meat. When you make broth, you're trying to get all the protein you can into that fluid, and so you're wanting to use more of the meat. Now there's also a third class that a lot of people have been hearing about called bone broth. Bone broth does not have, or should not have, any meat in it. And you're also making sure that you're breaking those knuckles and you're cracking the bones so that your fluid, as it boils and stirs, is getting in and drawing the marrow out. And you can still do this with chicken, because everybody looks at it and says, oh, chicken is, just a little chicken. But if I'm doing something like some of you probably have some backyard projects with your poultry and you're doing, I don't know, I'm seeing it's like a really low number to me, but 10, 15 chickens, and then you're putting them in the freezer, or maybe you are canning the meat so that you can use it throughout the year, and you've got the pile of bones. Break those puppies up and put them through the stocking process and turn it into bone broth. Bone broth's major difference is there should be enough collagen and marrow in it to make it congeal. So you're not going to see this like you do with your stocks and your broth. That's going to barely wiggle if you have a true bone broth. And technically, that is the test for bone broth. Is picking it up, literally this is what they do, and picking it up after it is totally cooled, and if it doesn't jiggle, they'll classify it as bone broth. So it's fairly simple. All stock, all broth, bone broth, regular broth, what you put into it for flavoring is your choice. Okay? Ours is 100% stock. We have no fruit or no vegetables, no salt, no shelf stabilizers, and no preservatives in ours that we sell. And later on, a little bit later, we'll do some taste testing, and you will see it is very different. It's very bland.
It is. There's no salt or anything.
Yeah.
Like the stuff you get from the store in the box. Exactly.
Salt. We don't have that. The other thing that we do a full at least 24 hours because we're wanting to get the most nutritional value, because I have a lot of people that are using it for like meal replacement, protein replacement in their diet. And
so
it's great.
This one has gone 2.5 days.
Yeah.
Is what we did with this one, because in the commercial kitchen that we have a 40-gallon steam pot. So we fill it. I mean, if we're going to do a batch of stock, we're going to do a batch of stock. Yes.
I have one question. If you're not adding preservatives or anything like that, how long is that shelf stable?
The government says that we have 1 year.
I don't care what the government says.
What I have said, and what I am comfortable using mine, and that's what you have to do. What are you comfortable with? I am comfortable using mine up to 3.
But honestly, they don't last that long in my house.
That's the second point. I mean, but if I happen to find one in the back that is 3 years, and open it and I use my most important kitchen tool and it pops right and I put my nose up to it, I'm going to use it. I'm going to make sure it goes into something that is at least going up to 160 degrees. Because if it did have something in it at 160 degrees, there's nothing that's going to live.
Well, and you don't have to use just, plain chicken carcasses. I mean, a lot of us, we get rotisserie chicken or something from the store. A lot of times once I debone it and it's sitting there, it goes in the freezer. When I have 3 or 4 of them, it goes in the stock pot. I mean, it's easy enough to do that with, that you don't have to, start with a chicken.
$4.99 Costco chicken.
Exactly.
And how long are you saying you're cooking that for your...
This one is 2.5 days. We started this pot yesterday afternoon. So I say, well, my favorite thing to do, because, I'm a mom of 3. I own 2 businesses, well, 3. I put it like in the crock pot the afternoon before while I'm making supper. The next morning, I skim it, put it in jars in the canner. That way it's not taking all of my time. You still get that good, 12 hours to get your good nutrition back?
Yeah. Yep. If you're wanting the bone broth and you're wanting it for protein replacement, protein addition, you need to be at least 12 hours. A 12-hour minimum is what they're saying. Ours right there, I have people that buy it because we are looking, that jar there, we're looking at 27 grams of protein. That's a pretty good replacement.
So the longer you cook it, the more nutrients are in
Your
it.
6-hour stock usually runs anywhere from 6 to 10 grams of protein.
For how much?
For a cup. For a cup.
And all of this is in your guys' handouts.
Yeah.
And if you didn't get a handout and you guys want to write your email down, we can get it sent to you.
Yeah.
The same thing goes for beef, pork, rabbit. I mean, it doesn't really matter. Like my beef and my pork though, since there's extra fat in there in the marrow, I like to roast mine in the oven, my bones in the oven, 1.5, 2 hours, and then put them in my pot and cover them with water. And that one I usually do at least 12 to 18 hours.
And
to
could you
really
do the
get
same
that.
for goat and sheep as well?
Oh yes.
Exactly.
Oh yes. Goat and lamb.
Yep.
Goat and lamb makes them great broth. And you're even talking a higher, especially with the goat protein content.
Can you guys repeat the question from the audience so that Facebook hears what the question was?
Yes.
If you think of it.
Yes. Okay, so let's see where am I at in my agenda usually thing? So the most important thing you have to remember about doing your stock, when you're using your pressure canners, if it's hot when it goes in the jar, the canner needs to be done with hot water so you're not taking a chance of breaking glass, breaking jars. If everything in your jars is cold, then your canner is going to start off cold.
We washed our jars in a commercial dishwasher before we came in, and then we put them in the oven to keep our jars warm while we're waiting for our stock to be put in. So the main thing is just keeping them the same temperature. A lot of times when I'm canning, my jars go in the dishwasher to get a sanitize on them, and then it stays hot in there with the door closed. Just pull them out when you need them. Or, like I said, you can go ahead and just stick them in a warm oven or something like that. 200?
200 on the oven. 200, because we put it at 200 because this has been rolling for a couple of days. We brought it up to another rolling, so we're looking at being in that 200 range, so we don't break glass. We want to make sure we're not breaking glass.
In this pot here, we have 3 carcasses. Is that what we put in there? 4 carcasses. We put 4 carcasses in here, and we covered it completely with water. So that was about.
The ratio is about. You wrote it down.
I did write it down.
You did write it down. The ratio is 8 cups of water for every pound.
And of course, as it cooks down, you're going to lose some of your liquid, of course. So what we started out with is not what we have now. It's condensed down. But we were going to go ahead and start that, but it's going to take way too long. That's why we figured if we have it ready to show you guys, it's easy enough.
You said 8 cups per pound. Is that per pound of meat or per pound of meat in your veggies?
Per pound of meat is what that's based on, and that's your total, bones, everything. Yeah, bones and all.
Does vegetable content change that ratio?
Vegetable content does not change it because you're wanting to draw the moisture out of those vegetables too. And you're going to actually get a little bit more moisture in the end when you're using vegetables.
You can also add, if you guys want any kind of herbs, you know, you can add thyme. I like to throw a couple bay leaves in mine, a little peppercorn, you know, that sort of thing, because all of that gets strained out. So in the end, you're just left with the broth. If anybody wants to come up and look at it, I have no problems with that. It's been simmering for a while. You can see that we will be running it through the cheesecloth, but at the moment, there really isn't even a lot of fat on top. Some people don't worry about running it through the cheesecloth. They just want to go ahead and strain it, which is fine too. In the end, it'll settle at the top of your jar and you'll have just a little bit of fat at the top of your jar. You'll see, you can either skim that off or you can use it. It's still all usable.
The other thing, when you're putting, if you're wanting to use herbs and you don't have access to a fresh spray, you can use dried herbs too, herbs you've dried yourself. I do recommend though that you put those make a cheesecloth bag, what they call an herb bag. Like you can take cheesecloth, sew a bag, put a drawstring at the top, tie it, and drop those in. Because if you're doing something like this, those herbs have a tendency to become prohibitive to the flow of your everything, and it slows you down a little bit, and then your fats start getting in the way. So if it's something small, put it in a bag and let it. It's going to do the same thing. It's going to boil. It's another option rather than the fresh sprays.
So with this pot, it's been cooking now for, like I said, I think we started at like 2 o'clock yesterday. And so we are ready to strain. Like I said, you guys can cook it as long as you want or as short as you want. I've done chicken stock in 3-4 hours just because that's all the time I had that day. I needed to get it done, and it's what it is. It just depends. Like for me, what I was using mine mainly for was flavoring soups and stuff like that. I wasn't using it per se for the nutritional value in it, just for flavor, which that works too. So we are going to take it, and we're going to go ahead and run it through a cheesecloth. I mean, and you can tell it's not quite as dark as this because we did not cook this long. But it's still going to have the flavor you want, and some of the, well, it's going to have the nutritional value.
Oh yeah, it's going to have your nutritional value. It's going to be at the moderate range. And I have some over here. I have a couple different brands of the wonderful stuff they sell in the store. We wanted you to see, you know, it definitely has a difference to it, depending on which one they are. Now the other thing that everybody always says is, you know, you buy this in the store, and then you use it, and you only use 2 cups, and then you put it in the refrigerator, and then, oh my gosh, it's still there in 10 years, and you've not been able to use it all at the wonderful price that you paid for it. So, one more suggestion. Even with my stock here, we do our stock in 24 ounces, because if you pay attention, most recipes call for 3 cups. Calls for 3 cups, so you put a whole jar in. If it calls for 2.5 cups, guess what? It's really okay. But if you only needed a cup and you don't want to waste it and you're not sure when you're going to be using it again, by all means, that's when you can use your freezer. Put it in a freezer-safe container, and then put that freezer-safe container in your freezer. And now, next year, when you're doing gravy and you're thinking, oh, I'm short stock, you got some in the freezer. You can get 12 months on frozen stock. Easy. And it's still get the same.
Well, and it's the same thing too, is if you don't have the time to can it, you could also just freeze it. A lot of people like to use, you know, they have the little measuring silicone thing where you can put a cup of it and freeze it in a cup. So there's different ways to tackle it. I am not going to try and pour it on down.
canning jars, ball, per, mason, not mayonnaise jars from the grocery store. The ring is usually your 1 inch to 3/4 inch headspace.
And they do have like your bubblers that you can, get your bubbles out of the jars. They do have a measuring thing on some of those.
You can win those in the bag.
I was gonna say, and she may have one to show
I
us.
do.
Yeah, true. Face it, there's 2 reasons to go to Outfitters. My husband's work boots and my canning stuff.
And lots more.
That's the only reason to go. But yeah, these are your bubblers, your lid picker-uppers. Wanda and I have been, this measures your headspace. It gives you a couple different measurements. Anytime you set it on the thing, you're going to find that your headspace is going to be, if you don't have a handy one of these, I always use my ring.
So what if you fill them too full, Barb?
What if I fill them too full and make a mess of my canner and I get mad at myself? Because you got to remember that if they don't have room for that to expand, because your inside your canner is going to exceed 240 degrees. Everything expands at that temperature. So you're going to expand. Those seals haven't cranked down yet. They've not come out to cold air so that they can pop. So where's it going to go? It's going to go out over the seams. Now, if you've got your dried herbs in there and a piece of that gets stuck, that jar's not going to seal. If you've got a piece of meat,
It's terrible.
if it's got a piece of, if it's got a meat particle or a fat particle and it gets on that ring, your jars aren't going to seal. So if you have a bunch of overflow and you have jars that aren't sealing, that's why. That's why that headspace is important. Sometimes you will think you have a pop, or you will push and you think you've got a seal, but you've got a particle in that ring and you don't have a true seal. That's why when you open them to go to use them, you want to hear a strong, firm pop. If your pop is not strong and firm when you go to use it, use your most important kitchen tool, put it up to your nose, give it the sniff test, and then I would make sure you're definitely using it, if it passes the sniff test, using it in something that's going to go up to 10. Okay, because number one, I hate this word. Number one, you've got people out there going, you can't do that because you're going to get botulism. I'm sorry. If you knew how many botulism spores you just breathed in today, walking here, you probably all would never leave your house. Botulism is everywhere. The part that becomes an issue is when botulism is given an environment to grow in. Botulism cannot grow in a freezer. I am sorry, even at 30 degrees, if you look at any chart, botulism cannot grow. Botulism cannot grow over 150 degrees, 145 is your safe zone. Yeah, I'll give that to them. But when you take it up to a 160 good standard reheat temperature, botulism cannot grow. If you happen to get air in that jar, you're gonna smell it. Because botulism starts whatever it's eating, thriving on in that environment. Botulism then becomes a multiplier, and as it's multiplying and growing, that's when you start getting off smells. Okay, you don't even have to get to the flavor part. If you've got a jar that's bad, you're going to smell it. That's why I say your most important canning tool is your nose. If it smells off coming out of the ground, what do they tell you? Compost it. If it smells off coming out of the jar, compost it. Composting is wonderful. It does a lot of great things.
We can probably go ahead and please try that your camera over there on this go. Because it's going to try to go a little.
Okay, now, second disclaimer of the day. Do not do that. I have been doing this for a very long time. I have very bad heat sensitivity. So Wanda's probably going to look at me in a little while and say, hey, your finger's turning red. I actually felt that one. I'm impressed. But, yeah. Please use tools in this. Be safe. Do as I say, not as I do. That's what my mother always told me. Yeah. Oh. Use something to water with. All right, so, as I You see, I picked that up out of the water, I put them down, and then you want a nice, even twist on them.
You want
Again.
fingertip tight.
Again, I'm holding this jar thinking, warm them. Don't hold this jar without a hot holder or something.
I mean, when my husband even gets in the kitchen, he sits there and tells me, oh, that needs to be tighter. No.
No.
No. You can over tighten your lids.
You do want it, if it has to, because you were off by that inch, you do want it to be able to expand. Otherwise, that's when you get the things, the nightmares that everybody's afraid of. It's not going to happen if you don't let your husband tighten it. That's what I always say.
The other thing is like when you buy a box of jars like this, they come with lids, right? The only thing with those lids is you have to be super careful because where you store them before they get bought, they get hot, they get cold, they get hot, they get cold. So they're actually sealing and unsealing on those jars. I never use the lids that come with the jars. I always have new lids that I put on, and those ones either get used for something that does not get canned, or they just get tossed. You can try it, especially if you're doing like maybe a hot water bath, but I wouldn't necessarily do it with pressure canning. I mean, it's just one of those things
Buy
that
a box of jars, buy a box of ringing lids.
the rings are fine.
Rings are
Just
fine.
the lids.
Just the lids.
Buy a box of lids. You would be surprised how many times we have heard, I don't know, a little bit more than that.
Oh yeah, you will.
We carry cases of jars around in the back of our truck as we were somewhere with the truck. We carry cases of jars around in the back of our truck, and by the time you're going to turn the air conditioner on, be careful to be comfortable, and you're going to turn it off. I have actually heard lids popping in the back with 10 cases, you know, as I'm going, or it was really cold in the store and I turned the heater on. They'll take off and start going.
Well, and even when we brought them into a different environment from being outside or in storage and brought them into the warmer kitchen, you'll hear them popping. So and that's even when I took the classes, 20 years ago with WSU, the person teaching it said the same thing, which I didn't even think about it until she had mentioned it. Depending on where you get your jars and where they're stored, yeah, they're sealing and unsealing with temperature changes. So it's either that or, just take the lids off. I mean, but yeah, I buy cases at a time of lids, so I just happen to have them in my pantry anyways. We can things all year round. The other thing, like I like to do this time of year is dried beans, navy beans, pinto beans, black beans, anything like that. Get my stock up this time of year for that to be able to add quickly to soups or anything that you want, or pureed, or however you want to use it. That's the other nice thing this time of year to do, because like your vegetables and stuff, you kind of have to do them when they're fresh. But then you have your other stuff like chicken stock or even canning chicken. If there's a really good sale at the store on chicken breasts or chicken thighs, debone them, stick them in a jar, and run them through the pressure can. It's canned chicken. You can use it in anything you want. Yeah. How much water did you put in?
This can here, I always use 1 quart of water. If you have any of the older canners, usually the taller ones, I'll use a quart and a half. The ones that you can double stack your pints in, I'll use a quart and a half. The smaller ones like this, I'll use a quart. Nobody remembers what the directions said on any of my canners. I highly recommend, if you're fortunate enough to invest in a new canner, which is worth every dime of every price they have on them, it's handy to write in the front of your ball book, write it someplace on the wall, on your cupboards if you think you're going to be living there for a while, what your canner technically requires. Because what I'm saying is a generalization that we've been doing in my family for 3 generations, that's all of these canners. If a canner is old, does not mean it's bad, as long as it has good seals and a good pressure gauge.
And you oiled that seal recently.
I always oil my seal before I put them away, and I never store my canners with the lid on.
No.
Turn the lid upside down, protect your pressure gauge, and store them like that. That way that seal is getting air. As it gets hot, it can contract. As it gets cold, it can contract. And you have to have vegetable oil on it. However, I do not recommend oiling it immediately before using it because you will never want to cook with vegetable oil again. That's when you get, and I've got some on here, which is a pretty good display. This ticky tacky, okay, that's the petroleum part of the vegetable oil that we now use after it gets hot.
Could you use coconut oil or olive oil?
Actually, I prefer to use tallow.
Okay.
Tallow doesn't do that. Not Crisco, real tallow, or even leaf lard, which is pork. With the pork and the tallow, though, you can end up with a little bit of a rancid smell if you have stored it down and it doesn't get air to it. Okay. So getting air to that seal is important. It's simple. They're not very expensive. They're easy to replace. Before I use my canner, I check my seal. If I knew I was going to can, the day before I would check this and then put the oil on it, give it time to, if I didn't know it was already pre-cooked. Okay. If you have cracks, breaks, crumblings, I can tell you, I know me personally, I've replaced the seal twice in the time I've had this pressure cooker, and I'm sure my mom replaced it a couple times too before that. They do last a long time. Things happen though. You definitely want to make sure that this is in good condition. Okay? If that's not in good condition, it's not going to do you any good because you're not going to hold pressure. You also want to make sure your pressure gauge is in good condition. You can get your canning lids tested at the extension office, or the community has lots of events where they test your lids. I recommend getting it tested every year. I get mine tested every year. If it costs you anything, I think last time.
We do ours in June, and it's free.
It's
I
June
usually
15th.
And I think it's like $2. No, I paid $10 and took all 4 in when I had it done at the extension office. So it's not that expensive, but it's very, very worth it.
Hang on.
Yes.
I have a lid in here. Because the water's hot.
And make sure you have the right weight for it.
And if you buy a used canner like that, find it at a garage sale, Goodwill, something like that. That's the main thing you want to check is the seal. And then you can buy new gauges over at Chehalis Outfitters. However, even if you buy a new gauge, you're still going to want to test it. Because even the new ones can be off. What is yours at? Is it?
This one here is on exact.
Is it?
This one, it's the only one I have that's exact.
I would say, because a lot of times instead of, mostly everything you can at 10 pounds of pressure. All of mine were set at 11, not 10. And then where we're at, it's fine, but there's other places that, if you can in another state, it may be different. Your
elevation.
Thank you. Yes, you gotta watch your elevation because it can change things.
So I have one at home that I can everything at 9 pounds pressure, which is actually 10 pounds pressure. And I have another one like Wanda's. I think actually my other one is more like 12 pounds.
Yeah.
But when they test them for me, they'll tell you where they are. My mom, she takes it on the top, and when she gets it tested, she'll write it in Sharpie, so she doesn't forget what pounds pressure that canner is at. And it's really kind of funny because she also knows the trick. You take that Sharpie and you scribble over it and wipe it off. You put the next new one on there. And it changes. That's just a little trick. So, I'm going to put my lid on.
And do you also have to oil this?
Yeah, I do oil my vent too. When I put it away, I don't oil my vent. I usually do this like Wanda just did, wiggle it, make sure that it's free, it's not stuck before you get started. The other thing you want to do is
It's
make
not
sure.
what the other half did
No.
when we went to try and take
See,
the lid off.
They are, these little arrows actually have purpose. And you want to make sure you're not putting it on backward because it changes the amount of pressure that lid can take. That's why these are carved in here, not just inked on. It says your canner is open and the little arrow goes to open. Then when you twist it, you can go to closed and you know it's closed. You also know it's closed because the ears line up. I mean, there's other hints too. The ones that have the screw down, they have their own little thing. When you get them, read your book, learn it, and make yourself a note someplace because you know you're going to lose the book. Either write it in your ball book or, you know, someplace where you're going to keep how many, I think, I have not used those a lot. I believe they actually say how many turns you're supposed to do on each little wing.
Oh, yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
And then besides the gauge ones, you also have the weighted ones. The weighted ones, the weight on it rocks, and you have to listen for so many rocks per minute instead of watching the gauge. I thought I would like that one better than watching a gauge because I'm like, oh, I can do something else while listening to it, right? No. Not that easy. Especially, those ones I think are a lot harder to get a temperature adjustment on the stove just right. Especially, I mostly use propane stoves at home. And so they tend to run a little hot. So listening to that and trying to get it dialed down on the stove to me was not my favorite. This one you can just be doing something, glance over, look, see what it's doing.
That is the other thing, the difference between propane and electric is huge.
And glass tops.
And, oh yeah, glass tops. Okay. Gary,
You can crack the glass top. I have known people who have done it.
Yeah.
Trying to can on a glass top stove and they've cracked it.
Gas gets hot faster, gets cool faster. I mean, you really have wonderful regulation on a gas. I love it when Wanda calls me and says, we're going to can it. Yeah, we're going to can it for our house. Because I have electric. And learning where that spot is really, really hard. Again, if you've got an electric stove that you're going to do a lot of canning on, take a Sharpie and mark where that dial sits so that you at least know what your starting point is. I've never used this one before, so it's going to take us a little while to get it in. The second thing I do is I always open my weight because I have been known to stick it on there and forget to open it. And you always want to start with your weight open. So this is going to take off. She's going to start it on high. And what we're waiting for is for a constant stream. So as soon as I get a constant stream, and it's really hard to know what constant is because I will be doing something, I'll look over, oh, I got a constant stream, and go to put my weight on it, and it's like, well, that wasn't so constant. So it takes a little bit of getting used to and regulating, but once you get the hang of it, it becomes really easy. And you will know when you can put that weight on. Once I put the weight on, then I'm going to close it. You want it open when you're putting it on so that you don't get burnt. You don't get hurt because it'll push that steam out underneath it if you don't have it on right away. So keep your hands away from the hole, hold on to the top, and have it open when you're putting on its sinker. And like I said, I can't tell you what my manual says because my great grandmother didn't have that one when Presto Magic, I don't even think Magic Seals have a pressure cooker in it.
I have the same scanner, and I have the manual.
Ooh. Okay.
Right.
We may have to keep we may have to keep in contact here because I've never seen it. So yeah.
So then we have the newest thing for canning, and that is the electric pressure canner. This has honestly become my favorite thing ever, especially when we are so busy. I can be making jam while this is doing its thing. I can be getting the other stock going. You can do anything while you're in the kitchen. This one is gonna have a line inside here. You guys will not be able to see it, sorry. That is how full you fill your water. First, you wanna put your jars in though, and then fill it to the line with water. So it kind of makes it a little, foolproof. There is a plate for the bottom, so we are not putting it directly on the bottom. And now I have lost my line. There it is. Woo! And then you put the jars in the way, and it's like, wait a minute. So we're gonna put our jars in here. This one will hold 6 of these jars. I think it'll do 7 of the pints, but only I think 5 of the regular quarts. So that's the downfall to the electric one, is it will not hold as many as, say, your old-fashioned hammers, standard hammers.
Can you double stack on that one as
No.
well with small ones? No.
No. So we're gonna go ahead and fill it up. Now with this one too, it has a whole other process. Or if you wanna give me some more water. Yeah. It has a whole another process. So we're gonna put our time on here. So for these jars, we're gonna do 25 minutes. So we'll go ahead and we'll tell it we want it to go for 25 minutes. We'll hit start. Well, it automatically sets to warming the jars. So we already warmed our jars in the oven, but this has a standard setting for warming jars. I just put my jars in there, go ahead and hit the button, let it go through its warming phase. I really don't need it, but it has to do it. So you just wind up hitting play and letting it do its thing. And then you just wait for it. It'll go to its next one, and you just hit play again, basically. You're just letting it go through its scenarios that it has to, and go from there. So we will go ahead, plug it in. You hear the beep? We have stock in our way. So we are going to go to 25. We'll hit play again, and it says to insert jars. Oh, we already made it to that. And you gotta make sure you guys get this part down, because I have most definitely forgot to hook that mic. Why isn't it working? Like, it's not doing what it's supposed to. We're gonna hit play again, and now it's warming up. So it will beep at us when it's ready for the next step, basically. So the nice part is about this is you just walk away until you hear it beep. You let it do its thing. We have our weight here that as soon as it tells us to, we'll put it on. So it'll tell us when, you'll hear it also, like this one is starting. I can see it from over there anyway. We're starting to get a little steam out of there, but it's not quite constant yet.
That was almost all cute.
Right? This one will do the same thing.
Now, is there anything that you can test, get certified on this one, or is it just as it comes?
It's just as it comes.
Okay.
So, I can show you guys, this is basically what we're straining out of our stock. There's a little bit of meat in there, but it's mostly just a little, like I said, if you guys don't want to run it through a cheesecloth, you don't have to. A lot of times it'll just settle in the bottom of the jar if you don't strain it all the way. And then a lot of times, I still use it. Just leave a little bit of sediment in it if you don't want it in your, whatever you're cooking. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't have to be done precisely. We're all busy. We all have families. We have stuff to do. You just do what you can.
Yeah.
But the process is the main part.
The sediment level that we are legally allowed to have in our stock is 0.02. That's really small. So when we strain for our process, we actually use 100 grade cheesecloth. And 100 grade is the finest you can get. It's the best. I would use 100 grain for everything. We use 100 grain cheesecloth. It goes through 100 grain cheesecloth 4 times before it goes into our vat that we fill our jars with. getting good.
I say we're getting it.
We're getting
but
there
it's
now.
still breaking a little bit.
But I'm watching it. You'll see we're also getting bubbles around.
You're getting a little steam too.
Getting a little steam and little bubbles. That means it's working properly. You're going to get steam and bubbles even through that vent until that vent pops. And it won't pop until I get this on. And I'm kind of happy with that. That's pretty good. Now, as I said, we're having it open because it takes a while.
Does money go from the vents over here?
Yeah. This one has to pop the bottom. Oh, this one has to pop the bottom. Yeah, this one has to pop the top. And then I close it.
Okay. See, there's different ones to do. Some of them you have to let that full steam go for 10 minutes, where you see the steam and then you put your weight on.
See, and this one needed the pop top because it's not going to do, you're going to sit there and blow steam all day long until that pop pops. That top pops. And then I will start building my pressure, and I already know that this is an electric stove, and I'm going to want to drop to about 8 to let it build. If I let it build at high, on this one, because it's mine, I know from past experience, it builds too fast.
When you say 8, is that like a low temperature or medium?
It takes it, I took it from high to about, I would say a quarter down about a quarter. Once you learn your pressure cooker, you're going to learn, you'll learn. And once you learn your stove, and it really is a combination marriage between the cooker, what you're capable of doing, and what your heat source is. Now, not that I've ever said this or anything, but we do tuna. We're not doing tuna in my house. So we do use propane outside. Control your draft, control your environment, make your flame easy to control. I didn't say that. But we know our flame, we know our heat source, we know our canners. We actually set my husband at it, and he's really good at doing something. And he watches 3 canners do tuna. So, you don't want this to go up real fast. So if I'd have left that on high, it would have gone up real fast. I like it to go up a little bit slower, especially when I'm using electric, because I have a little more control then once I get to 110 to keep, or get to 10 pounds pressure to keep it at 10 pounds pressure. That one is boring. It really is.
It is, but I can get so much done while it's doing its thing.
And that's what we're going to do right now, our next little step. So as we're kind of watching this one, we're going to keep an eye on it. I was asking our daughters, who are starting to come into that cooking for families kind of thing, preparing for families, what is it you don't think you know about making chicken stock? And all of them, and we have quite a few between us, all of them said, you know, Mom, I've never paid attention when you're breaking the chicken down. And I can't just drop the whole chicken in there because you tell me to crack it when you tell me to do it. I don't know how to break it down. So, in order to remedy that, today I brought a friend with me who's,
Did we name it?
yeah, we can call it, I don't know, it's probably an apple or something. I don't know. Well, I actually probably, what's my purchase or something. I brought one with me today, and I'm going to show you how to break it down. You do want to break it down a little differently for stock, especially if you want to make sure you want to break it down a little bit differently because you want to make sure you get your bones and knuckles cracked. I know that sounds kind of, what do you mean bones and knuckles cracked? But I'll show you. Now this little guy is going to probably make a mess here, and I'm going to try not to make a mess over the table, but over my garbage can. If you notice, this label here does say Stagger Family Farm. Chickens are available. And we also do have carcasses available. If you guys call and say that you were here and order carcasses, you'll get 10% off.
So, the one thing I've seen a lot of, or a little bit of right now, are chicken feet.
Oh, lovely, lovely, lovely.
You know that if somebody brings me a chicken with feet on it, it has to go. But,
To my house.
yes. When we were butchering chickens or ham, I'm like, no feet, no beak, I'll do the rest. That's fine. But, no feet or no beak.
I get the feet, the beak, we get the feathers. We did make the boys cut the heads though.
Yes, yes.
But-
But I've seen a lot of people who prefer to use the feet because it does have more nutritional value. Is that what I have seen?
Yes, it has more, the feet on the chicken has collagen. So if you're capable of putting feet into your chicken stock, your bone broth,
Yeah, see, I'm right there. No.
if you're capable, I didn't say it's not
But
required.
I've seen a lot of it right now, so I was just
Yes.
curious.
And I actually have people that buy feet and heads and that's all they do with it is make socks. And it's not my thing, but it is an option for somebody who is an option. Now, the other thing that there's been a lot of, and I think we have an audience that's okay. I have a lot of people that say, they'll say they want the chicken spatchcock. How many of you know how to spatchcock a chicken? Yeah. It's not as hard as people think. It's easier to do with poultry shears, but I broke mine, so I don't have poultry shears. But what I do use,
Mine had brought out the saw, or the sawzall.
yeah, I use my cleaver. Now, difference between this chicken and grocery store chicken, you see how I'm going through those bones?
Yeah, that's easy.
It's called nutrition.
That's why I don't do it.
Yeah, I do. I'm not doing this though with my butcher blade. I'm doing this with my cleaver. I hit the blade bone right there. So then I can pull it back and look for the joint and find the joint in the right spot. Maybe I'll find the joint in the right spot. And then I look on the other side and find the joint in the right spot. Okay. Now, see how easy that was, guys? When they say you want spatchcock chicken, quit crying and just go cut the spine out.
Or you can buy them already not pregnant.
We do have them available, spatchcock chickens. Now you know how to do that. So, this is the spine. Basically, if I'm doing chicken stock, this is all I'm using. Because I've done something else with the rest of this. If you buy a carcass from us though, it has more rib to it and a little more meat because of the way it has to be processed by the processor. So now the little fella, he will lay flat. Maybe.
He's still pretty.
After I break that breastbone. So he lays flat. It is easier to break the chicken down after you take that out, because you see how he's laying there? I mean, it's a little bit easier. Then, the thing you're looking for is you're just looking for joints. I can't see joints because that's in the way, so I'll just take that off. Now, as I take that off and I cut that, you see how it exposed all of that? Once that exposed part, I get down to that and I see it's very definite. It's almost like somebody drew a diagram of where you were supposed to cut.
Oh, hang on, Barb. We are hitting our play button again because
Okay, and I'm gonna
it
not.
is telling us to fill our jars now, but now we are heating. So say we just put the hot jars in, now it is going to heat up.
Okay, and if you want to set your timer, we're at 10 pounds pressure.
Okay.
Now we're just gonna watch that and make sure it doesn't go above 10 pounds pressure. Because we're at 10 pounds for 10 minutes.
That's what I was going to ask. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm just following the lines that Mother Nature gave me. And look at that. I have a quarter. Okay? People like it's not, I'm sorry,
So
it's not.
what does the quarter contain?
The quarter has your thigh and your leg. And there's really holding that after you take the spine off, there's nothing holding it to the cheek. Okay? I keep wanting to, I'm thinking of talking to my girls about this, thinking, my God, kids, it's not rocket science. Okay, so this rib part here, I'm gonna expose it a little bit better here. This rib part here is generally what you get on our USDA carcasses too, for that, but it's not, it's on this part for. Then I go to the wings, because I'm just getting everything off to get to the breast. Now I go around the wing until I find, expose that joint. You can kind of see that joint right in there. And after I've exposed that joint, I can put the blade in there and I can break it. I am strong. I'm not that strong though. It's not, it doesn't take a lot of strength if you can put your blade in the right spot. So now I'll take the other one off. And again, I'm just taking and exposing the joint until I see the white of the joint. Once I see the white of the joint, I can even give it a little counter pressure and expose it a little bit better if I have to. And yes, before you ask, I have missed. That's not fun. Okay, so then the wings, all your dark meat's off. Your wings are off, your legs are off, your thighs are off, and you're left with your rib cage and your breast. Now, in order to pull those breasts out, I use more of a boning practice. If you are a fisherman, you will understand this. You are basically just filleting the ribs. That's why I switched knives too, because I got more of a curve here. I have boned out in one day up to 125 chickens and had people look at me and say, why do you do it like that? Well, because I got educated on boning, on fillet, barge, and so that's what I know. So, yeah, my chicken bones can come out pretty clean because I just do them like I do my fish. And it's not wrong, it's not right, it's whatever works for you.
Yeah, my chicken would not look like that.
So, yep, and then what I'm just doing is I'm just tracing these rib cages till I get to this breastbones. Now, you can take this breast and tender off and leave more meat if you're going to be using stock, or just cut it up. It's up to you. It's your chicken. This is where Wanda was saying, you know, I'm doing this, say we're doing a barbecue, friends and family are coming over, we don't like them to see that our chickens actually have bone to them, because they won't eat them, because they're supposed to be processed like they get in the store. Okay, I got that. So then what I'm doing is I'm going to throw this in the freezer. Throw this stuff in the freezer and we'll do it on another day, or we'll do it after we get 2 or 3 more. I've never done just one chicken for my family though.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, I just turned it down.
that's what's hard about electric is you don't get immediate response when you turn it down.
No.
That might have to go to 6.
Oh, honey, we're going down farther than that.
No, see, I don't know the stove, so. Yeah.
There we go. Now we're coming down.
It takes a long time for electric to come down. So once you learn it, you'll want to remember where it is. Like I said, my mother's stove has Sharpie marks.
And it'll probably be that I'll have to turn it back up also, because I probably went too low to get the temperature down now, and then we'll have to play with it again.
And right now, I'm just trying to take the knife and find the center. And I just found it without cutting myself. Take the tail off. And then I can follow that bone to the top of the breast. Bone broth and stock. Put it in the freezer. Take the other side off. Again, I'm just laying out the rib cage right here. You can get it as close or as far away as you want. Some of the processors, I've watched some of those guys when they're pulling stuff out for other people, they'll be clear in the middle of the tenderloin. Doesn't matter. I guess they don't want it. I don't know. I'm a little cheaper. I'm a little chintzier to the bone. There's the bone right here. I'm going to come around it. Okay, there's your stock stuff on that. There's your breast. How many of you knew that the tenderloin was actually a piece? Don't leave it in your breast. Take it out. It's the best part. So I've got my two breasts, I've got my tenderloins, and then I'm going to do one thigh here and one leg, because that's the best one to show you what we mean by cracking your joints. If I'm doing broth, or if I'm canning chicken, I'm going down the leg. I leave it together with the thigh so I have something to hang on to. I'm going in until I find that bone. And then once I find that bone, I'm just going to roll right around it. And expose it. And stay as close as I can to it. I'm going to get up to the joint. And I'm going to keep going. And find the thigh bone. And come down that thigh bone. There's the joint. I'm going to take that knife and I'm going to follow the bone, both sides. Going to follow it down the top. Then I'm going to come down the side of the leg again, holding the meat back from the bone and chasing it up the bone. This is meat that I would, when I can my chicken, I will put my dark meat separate from my white meat, because we do a lot of chicken salad sandwiches, that kind of stuff. It's just like tuna fish. Put the mayonnaise in the jar. Send your husband to work with it.
You gonna put your mayonnaise in the jar, Barb?
Well, I open the jar, drain the jar, okay, put the mayonnaise in, put the lid back on, and put it in his lunch bag. So. I do that. I am totally believing in him being self-sufficient. He doesn't get the bread until he works for it. So.
Or my child's favorite thing is just to have crackers with it.
Yeah, I'll do that too.
I'm pretty sure that's what she lived on while she was pregnant.
Okay. That was a miss there.
All right, what do we have to do to this now that your 10 minutes is?
10 minutes is up.
Yeah.
Okay. Just a second here. Let me get this off real quick. You can turn it off and start it, let it cool. So you just have to shut your canner off, and that starts the cooling process. Okay. Now I've got that down to what I wanted, so I can show you what
Okay,
I want to
hang
show
on.
you. Okay.
Were we canning for 10 minutes?
Yeah.
No, we need 25, dear.
Oh, 25? Yeah, you're right.
You're like, okay, that's
Keep
good.
going.
That's
Keep
kind
going.
of what I was
Just keep
thinking.
going. Keep going. Hey, I'm just here for show. So, what we're talking about when we tell you to break your bones when you're wanting to do the bone broth, it's real simple. Do it 2 or 3 times, okay? You can hit your corners. That takes a little bit more. But you want these joints to be open and exposed. You want the ends to be open and exposed. I prefer, this one here is a little bit long for me. I'd do that one again. And it doesn't have to go all the way through. See how that one didn't go all the way through? It's just broke. So that the fluid's getting in there, water's flowing in and out, and it's making your good bone broth, which is going to have your collagen. Okay. Any questions about breaking those down?
I have a question. When you are breaking down your chicken and you're making, say, like boneless, skinless chicken breasts, the leftover skins, are you throwing that into your stock with chicken, with the wing tips and things like that?
Yeah. The skin, especially if you're doing something with the stock that you want to have more fat in, you're going to pull the fats out of the skin.
So I know raw chicken is probably the best, but can you use cooked or like stuff that's like a roasted chicken?
Yep.
Yes. You can use a roasted chicken. You can use your left that you do. If you do, this really sounds silly, but if you do barbecue chickens and you got those carcasses left after, 4th of July, save those things.
Well, even your turkey. After
Yes.
Thanksgiving, keep your carcass. Even if you don't have time
Don't
that
have
week to
time.
do it, put it in the freezer. I'll even add the turkeys sometimes if I want to. If I'm like have a bunch of stuff, I can mix my turkey and my chicken. I mean, it's whatever bones are in the freezer go in the pot sometimes.
Yeah. The only thing that you really can't mix is lamb. Because its flavor is very overpowering. Yeah.
So now this one has started building its pressure. So it started counting down from 10. We're at 7 right now. So it is building its pressure right now.
Are we still holding at 10 here?
We are over 10 still, but yes, we're coming down.
We're working there. We're working there.
It's fine now.
Yes.
When doing beef broth, would you want to be breaking down the bones to like a similar size that you did?
Comparable.
Well, you just want to keep them the same, yeah.
I use my finger. If you buy our processor, if I'm ordering the bones, what we call marrow bones, stew bones, stock bones, I have them standardly cut at about a 3.5 inch, and then they put them in a bag and cryovac them. If I was doing it at home, I'm fortunate enough, I would have them run them through the saw and do them at about 3.5 inches. 3.5 to 4 inches. Yeah.
With the bones from the carcass from Costco over history, do you break them apart just as you would?
You would want to break them, and you need to remember if you're using those bones, you're not going to be able to do a full congealing bone broth because you've lost some of that in the pre-cooking. But for the stock part, they're going to be fabulous, and I would still break them open so that you can get the rest of it that didn't already come out.
Well, and if you guys want to come take a look, this was the backbone and everything in here. Actually, we did not break them down past
No.
what the processor did of this.
So what we were getting
But the
was about
cooking
like
process has broke it down also. If you
Yeah.
guys want to take a look to see what it looks like in there.
And did you say you had 3 or 4?
3.
4.
No, there was 3.
4.
There was 3.
So 3?
Yes. Because I had 2 and 1. You took 4 home. But yeah, so it breaks it completely down. You have your pieces of bone in here. There's still, of course, a little bit of meat on it. But yeah, that's why we at least run it through a sieve, is you have these tiny bones and stuff that are still left in there that you don't want in your broth. But some people do, go through because there is still meat on it. Yeah. So you can still pick out the meat because there's still quite a bit, but then you do have your bones. And like somebody asked, there's still, where is it? The skin.
Yep. Now, this one is a little more like just rubbery. I'm gonna drop it on the floor. This one's a little more rubbery because if this had gone for 2 days, this would snap like nothing because there's no marrow left in it. There's no nothing left in it. It would just snap. So that's how you can tell sometimes how long. If you want those bones to really snap so you're getting everything out of it, cook it a little longer next time.
What do you do with your bones after? Do you grind them up in a bone meal, or?
Wow. If they're at my house, I just throw them in the compost pile, or put them under my roses.
Yeah, I've heard some people grind them up and put them in dog food and make dog food.
This meat that's
I
left.
say we have taken out to freeze dry.
Yep. We will freeze dry this and feed it to the. It doesn't have a lot of flavor left. There's no flavor left, but the dogs think it's fantastic. But you don't want them to get any of those bones. You don't want them to get those bones. So it's just the meat. We'll sit there, pick through it, and we have freeze-dried meat that we've taken off the bones, and then use it for the dogs.
You want to take a peek and make sure?
Yeah. See, I love electric.
No. Me neither. That's the first thing when we moved in our house. There was 2 electric stoves. I looked at my husband. I'm like, yeah, that's got to change.
Because it's one climb up there. So, yes.
The nice thing about it is if it does go over your second house's pressure, it is okay. It's when it goes under that you have a problem. Because if it goes under, you have to start your time all over again once you come back up.
It have more potential for your jars to do what we call leaking, the stuff coming out of the top and when we go over. So we're just going to be really careful with these jars, make sure everything gets a good seal to it, because we did go over. So we probably are going to have a lot more fluid in the bottom of this kettle than when we started, which isn't, that's not atypical. When that happens, you go, oh, troubleshooting. Extra fluid in the thing, more than a quart. I had some of my jars were filled with people, and you can watch going over pressure or make sure I have the right headspace. And this is it's a learning curve. Nobody's going to get it right the first time. But you're not going to kill anybody if you didn't get it right the first time. It's one of, there are 3 things that made it so America could move as fast as we could, as far as we could through the decades. Unfortunately, one is salt, the other is sugar, and the third is pressure processing. Without those 3 things, you have to live on top of your food source. Sugar is preservative, salt is preservative, pressurizing is preservative. So, I mean, that's, yes.
Is there a certain temperature that you're aiming for while you're boiling it for 6.5 days? Do you want to aim for 165 the whole time?
What my standard rule of thumb is 145 is the legal holding temperature. I don't want it to ever go under 145.
This batch we had in an electric roaster, and I had it at 225 overnight.
What would you say the temperature on the electric stove like for that 145?
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and add our weight.
But
We hit play again, and now it is going to
my
start.
home is actually about
the 25 minutes
this
of
one's
processing.
probably going to be lower.
It will still,
It's-
you'll still see a
it's
little
gonna-
bit of steam, but it will seal itself in a minute, and that's when it'll start counting down for us.
Your standard crock pot on low will not let anything go below 145 because that's the safe zone. So the manufacturers have them all programmed to be at 145. And I almost had to shut this off and take it down to pressure because it really didn't go.
Right?
It had lots of heat to it.
Alright, what happens when you get too much pressure?
When you get too much pressure, you're going to get the jar weeping. You do take the risk of you getting sediment inside your seals, so your seals aren't going to seal. This one I would watch really close for and make sure everything's really sealed. I do not reseal stuff. If it doesn't seal when I've done it the first time, we use it right away, put it in the freezer. We don't reseal. If I have a seal, it's in a seal because I've gone over pressure, I throw that seal away, I don't reuse it. Because I have made so much pressure, so much heat, the elasticity, the stickiness, the rubberization of that seal has been compromised. Okay, that is the one thing that I would not do with a overpressurized batch. There we go. Seals. There's only so much give or take in those seals. People reuse them. People will say, oh, if I used it and pressurized it on this, I'll hot water bath with it next time, or I'll put it on jams. That's your own choice. If you feel safe doing it, you did it, it worked for you, great. Is it something I personally would do? No. My seals are kind of like stick with it. Because if that seal don't seal, then I'm not going to get the pop. And I'm not going to sit there and go through 35 jars of what I've processed and have no pops and stick it to my nose and have it stomp. That's just wasteful. I don't want to do that. I don't want to be, not if I don't have to. So this has finally started to fall to where I want it. So I'm going to just real slowly maybe give it a little heat because I know it'll go too far if I don't pay attention now. Any other questions? Yeah.
Can you have too much headspace in your jar?
You can not have too much headspace in your jar, but if you like to leave extra headspace, remember you're going to have exposed product if you're doing something other than stock. So if you put too much headspace in and you've got green beans, you're going to have green beans that aren't sitting in fluid if you give it too much headspace. Now, is that bad? No, because there's no oxygen in there. You've gotten, if you've done it properly, the oxygen's gone, and you don't have to have everything in that jar covered in fluid. So, is something going to happen? Yeah, that's what's going to happen. You're going to have exposed product. Is it bad? No. The other thing is if that exposed product changes color, you have an issue. If it doesn't change color, nothing wrong with it.
So you have about 2 minutes left on that one.
Yeah, it's falling fast now.
I figured it would. That's why I was trying to go at it slowly, but
Like I said, I think it's learning your cooktop, it's learning your heat source, it's learning your canner.
You can tell the steps in that with quartz.
the quartz, not
Or
quartz.
no, not quartz.
Can you double stack the pints in that?
I've done it,
Okay.
or even smaller.
I would say the half pints. I could see maybe the half pints, but they do. I know they do. They did come out with a bigger one of these. However, it won't hold more, but you can hot water bath quartz in the new one that's bigger.
Okay. Then I'll have to do one.
Okay.
Because I can do both.
Okay. Yeah, because this size you cannot hot water bath quartz.
That's my size, but I can do both in my size.
Yeah, you can hot water bath pints or half pints, but not quartz. Yeah. That was the only thing with this one, which, let's be real honest, I have a commercial kitchen, so my hot water bath is an Amish rectangle hot water bath that I can put over 2 burgers. So that's my one I hot water bath. I don't mess with this one.
But yeah, now it's losing heat.
But these are all problems you can have at home.
And you see, it's not making us panic because we've dealt with it before. It's no big deal.
No.
It's just.
So this one, you basically have to be hovering around.
Yes.
When you're using it versus. So, and that's more because we're using it with electric, okay? She's got propane.
We know where to set it.
I know where to set the gas dial. And I set it and it's good. You're done. You're good. Because it doesn't, electric has a lot more fluctuation. A lot more fluctuation. And this is the first time we've used this heat source. So, and it, like I said, my mom's got Sharpies on her stove. She's got a little Sharpie marker which canner fits which one. And once you learn your heat source, once you learn your canner, it'll be fine. in now, so I am just giving it a little more heat because it did finally start to drop. I'm probably gonna get it to drop too
You're just
far.
gonna go ahead and
Not
shut
paying
your burner
attention.
off.
Oh, I got time? I got time! Thank goodness! And then, so what you're gonna do is you are gonna go through the cool down process. The cool down process is also a personal safety process. Because if I could crack that vent right now, I will guarantee you I will get burned. Okay?
Okay, this one is letting me know it is sealed. It has built up its pressure amount, so now it is going to start counting down for the 25 minutes.
Yeah.
You don't have to do anything, it's just beeping to let you know.
It's time. Yeah. So the cool down process is very important. I do open my vents, but I don't open my vents. If I'm canning at 10 pounds, I don't open it until I lose half my pressure. I let it cool for half my pressure. Even if I'm in a big hurry, I try to turn it off. A lot of times, I will even, especially if I use electric, I'll do this because you don't know how many hours it's going to take for that to cool down. Okay, so I will do that. You can slide it off the heat. No, don't pick it up and try to walk somewhere with it, but slide it off your heat. Get it away from its heat source if you're trying to go a little bit faster. And I like that if you're canning at 10, I like to see at least drop 5 on its own, between 5 and 8 on its own. If you're doing 15, adjust accordingly.
I would say you will see that this one is a little bit faster than say your electric, but you do have to sit there and play with the heat and make sure you're constantly watching it. This one does take a little bit longer though, but you can walk away.
Could you also just leave it for even to go way down?
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, you can walk away. Once
Yeah.
it's done right
Once
there, you
it's
can
done.
walk away.
If you're wanting to do another batch though, or you need to move on or something like that, that's when you would worry about that. A lot of times, if I'm doing 2 or 3 canners, I'll have it set up so that it's like the canners are done, and then it's chore time, go do chores, back in, and then I can finish unloading them. But if we're doing batch after batch after batch, then I'm going to want to hurry it up a little bit. But I don't like to hurry it up past that half. Just for safety, because you start unscrewing that thing and bending it.
It's best to just let it do its process by itself.
And you'll see, because once it gets down, I'll show you, you see even after it gets to 5, I don't do it all the way. What I do is I start cracking the vent slowly. Crack it till it hisses. Let it hiss until it's, crack it till it hisses. I don't just pull it up, pull it apart. It's still got to depressurize. It's part of the process too. If you just pull them out, you're changing the atmosphere so fast on you might not get the pressurization and the stabilization that we want. Because we're pressurizing it, we're making it oxygen free, and then we're stabilizing it. That's part of the process. Would you guys like to try some of our stock? I do have some samples here. I have some samples here if someone would like to try our stock. Please remember, this is salt-free.
I didn't know if you'd run out or not. Just brought some extra in case you need it.
Okay, that's in here.
The girls will help you pass it out.
We're going to pour it into our pitcher that pours a little bit better.
Maybe. It's priced on that.
I don't know if you want to pass them out while I pour them.
I think we may have a couple lovely
All
assistants.
right, some lovely assistants who can do that. Okay, I'll just. Yeah, remember, this is for my customers to salt the way they want to. I was fortunate enough to have to go through some major surgery. I had to have my esophagus reconstructed. Yeah, you know how much stuff you can eat when you have your esophagus reconstructed? And my brother-in-law tasted this and he says, that definitely needs something. And I looked at him and I says, that's all I've been eating for the last 4 months. What do you mean? Tastes exactly like what they were giving me in the hospital. So. It does have chicken. This is we started this with raw chicken. Yeah, this is it. See how it's got the chicken. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
Does it taste like?
Oh no.
And it's not full of sodium.
Yes.
It actually tastes like
But it tastes like what it's supposed to, right? So it's the really cool thing about this is I have people that buy it to use it to drink. I have people buy it for a soup broth, but they like the fact that they can season it themselves. They're in control of everything.
Just put your name on it.
All right. We do have this available on our website, Sacred Family Farms. Yes.
We're out by
And we're in Boyster. So anything you get from us has lived in Lewis County, breathed in Lewis County, ate in Lewis County, suffered the same floodwaters as you in Lewis County.
luckily not this year.
Not this year. No, this year we were lucky. We didn't have any snow. So you can see, doing it yourself, you still got flavor. You don't have to have all that.
No idea.
And like I said when we got started too, everything we're using here, Wanda and I are taking as a home canning project. This stuff all goes home. And we're not wasting anything. I think chicken's on the menu tonight.
If you guys haven't signed up, we have some latecomers, go ahead and get signed up for our drawings. As you guys are milling around, want to mill around, sign up for the drawings. And then we did have a clipboard going around. If you guys want to fill out your names on it. If you didn't get that pamphlet, if you star by your name on here, I can email it.
This one here is at mine as 5 pounds per year. So this is how I'm going to break it down. When I go to turn this level, you'll hear it hiss. And as long as I'm not feeling anything burning me, I'll go until I pop it. Okay, so then I have it so it'll open. Started with this right there, I'll stop right there, just let it slowly until that one stops hissing and that one stops hissing. I'll open it a little wider. So that it's coming down a little bit faster now. You can see it's all a little faster, but it's not coming out.
Does anybody have any other questions?
Definitely, if you didn't put it down before, and while we were doing this, you thought of something you want to learn about and make a recommendation for a class about, make sure you put it down, let them know, because we gladly come in and especially if you know somebody who needs a chicken.
I have a question about your canner. I have the same canner I always
not sealing right.
Okay.
It should seal so that it doesn't do that.
Okay. So, I need you to wait or more?
When I get this cool enough, I'll show you how you can check it.
Okay.
Because you can check these, and then, yeah.
Okay.
Yours has a gauge though too?
Yes.
Because it sounds to me like you either need to clean it out or you might have a rocker rate on a non-rocker can.
But some of them do though. Some of them will jiggle a little
But
bit.
it is, they're not, they shouldn't on the magic.
Oh, on the magic.
On the magic,
Okay.
they shouldn't.
I
Okay.
would say some of
I
the
know
other ones they do.
My Presto does, but
Yes.
magic shouldn't.
Okay.
So are you letting it steam for 10 minutes? Did it take all?
I let it blow steam for 10 minutes or longer.
Yeah.
Then I put the weight on.
Yeah.
And as I build up pressure, about as I'm reaching 10 pounds of
Pounds, it
pressure,
starts,
it starts rocking around.
so you might have a rocker on a non-rocker.
Okay.
Which happens at my house all the time, because my mom's got a rocker, and I like to just chuck that weight and go.
It seems to be sealing things. So.
Right, and that's the
Well, I've got pressure cookers that has it, so I have to be careful not to
switch them.
Yeah.
And because that will happen at our house if we're not careful. The rocker weight has fingernail polish on it.
Is it going to cause me any issues?
The biggest issue is your gauge is not going to read accurate.
Okay.
So as long as you have that gauge tested, you know where it is,
Okay.
and you're pretty confident in your gauge, you should be okay. I'm going to let this sit over here so I can show you what you're looking for. So this one has totally depressurized. When you're taking the jars out, we bring the jar.
We did not.
We should bring the jar over. That was really kind of silly. I got it. Wow. This is something that nobody thinks about. It's really important. Yeah, I'm gonna have to. Whoever wins the jar opener, I apologize for having to borrow.
It's tested.
Yes, it's tested and approved. When you take things out of a pressure canner, and I'm not sure about the electric ones, make sure you have at least a double towel underneath it. Okay? There's the thing that you're worried about here is it's called the heat transfer. And if your heat transfer is too quick, you destabilize everything you just did. Okay?
So you don't want to set it directly like onto a metal surface or a very cold surface.
Or I don't even like setting it onto a plastic surface.
No.
My mother will set it on wood. I don't even do that. I don't know. A little bit pickier than her, I guess. You just don't want to undo everything you just spent all afternoon doing. Kind of thing. And Wanda, her sister-in-law's having technical issues with a twist tie. She won't let me wear my pocket. Oh, she got her! That's not fair! I was being told that take mine.
I'm normally hauling cows today. The pocket knife goes in the pocket.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm not going to have my face over the top of this when I do this. And then,
And
I
you
stop. Once I hear the pop, I stop, give it a second, give myself a second to go, pop.
and then lift away from you.
I got it all the way to the open, and what she's saying is I'm pulling it like this. Just make yourself a shield. Make yourself a shield. Okay? Then move that away off to the side. It's fine.
And then with the taller parts, you have the problem with, some of us who are a little vertically challenged also. That's why you really want to make sure you pull that lid away from you.
Yes. Okay, and then you're coming straight up and you're going onto your tower. Okay? That's what our chicken stock looks like. Remember, this is only like a 12-hour, not like the 20 to 48. We're not pulling as much out of what we cut in there.
But it still has all of your flavor It still has a nutritional value, just not as high as the one that's longer.
8 cups of water, 1 pound of meat. Where we started.
You can do more if you want. You can add more chicken to it, or like we said, the vegetables, the herbs, just to add a little bit more of that flavor. And you can even do just plain vegetable broth.
Yeah. That's really good too. But that's what you're gonna do. The other thing I do, once they go down on here, 24 hours. I leave them on a table, on a towel, with the towel covering them so they don't get draft. My house is drafty. I don't want them to get a draft. I want them to stabilize naturally with no draft, no transfer of heat. And I'll put a towel over them and I let them sit there 24 hours.
I have had people try and check the rings.
Don't do it. Don't.
You can store them with the rings off after you let them sit for 24 hours.
Can you let them cool like that in the water? Or do you have to take it out?
I can let that cool in there for 24 hours, but usually I'm doing more things, and I don't want that thing sitting around. If I had my ideal kitchen with a canning kitchen, and I could do 3 canners and then walk away, I'd walk away and not come back up tomorrow.
Right.
Yeah, you can do that.
I'm saying we have done that, like when we're doing large batches of stuff, we've done tuna fish, that takes a long time. We've literally set this and we went to bed. So it was still sitting there the next morning when we got up.
Don't do that with this one.
No.
I did a lot with that one.
Yes,
Yes.
yeah, you can,
Last week of the night, it was
Yep.
sure there, thing on
Yep.
the back.
Yeah.
yeah.
And it just depends on what you have time for, what you're wanting to do, what your purpose is on. Did anybody else have any more questions? Because this is pretty much, once you've got it there and sitting for your 24 hours,
What would be the ratio for the bone to water? Still,
if I'm just doing bone,
like you said, you had 3 carcasses in there.
right. And the carcasses,
I didn't weigh it.
we didn't weigh them, but generally, if I have 2 carcasses in a package, it comes out to about almost 2 pounds, 1.25 pounds to 2 pounds, 1.75 pounds to 2 pounds on my standard carcasses, and that's what we were using. If you,
I mean, that's just to give you a guesstimate. Like,
Yeah.
I take a pot like this, I put, 2, 3 carcasses, whatever, I think would fit in here well, cover it with water, and just went with it.
it's gonna depend on you playing with it. You're gonna have to play with this and see what your preferences are. Okay, because my preference and my brother-in-law's preference are, different. Everybody's preference is different, and everybody's purpose for doing it. If you're looking to do it for a nutritional supplement and a protein replacement, then yes, you're going to want more chicken, less water, more time.
And we've also, like with this one, we cooked it down, we've added more water. We cooked it down, we
Because
added
we were
more
trying to
water.
pull
We were
everything.
pulling it out.
And
This one, we just let it cook, and we did not add any more water. We just let it cook down to what it is right now.
Yeah, because this is it. This is what you'll come up with. This can be used in your soup recipes, your gravy recipes. You can
Well,
put-
it's the same, say, color as what you would get in a can or box from the store.
Yep.
So,
Awesome. What do you guys think?
we got.
Going back to what you were saying, that the jar doesn't seal properly and you might get botulism or your
Yeah.
expected not to be good. You said to put it in compost. I guess if I contaminate your compost, put it in that jar.
If you have a compost pile that is functioning properly, the temperature of the compost pile will kill you.
Oh, okay.
But if your compost pile is not functioning properly,
How do you
then you
know?
could have an issue.
How do you know if it's functioning properly?
You can stick a probe in the center, and as long as it's 150 degrees.
Temp it.
Yeah.
And that's where most people go sideways with the cow.
Most people go sideways because their compost isn't getting hot. know that's not going to hit it at 150 degrees anywhere. I mean, yeah. And I don't recommend putting it into a septic system because that is a whole new set of issues that you don't want to do. Yeah. That's right. That's why my best recommendation is a compost. Any other questions? Yes.
The cheesecloth, how many times do you use it? Just one per bag?
I think my oldest one's 10 years old. So you don't want to use any soaps or starches. What I do is I just put it in my washing machine with no soap. I just run it on a regular cycle, let it on hot water, let it rinse it out, wring it out, rinse it out, wring it out, and then I don't dry it. I hang it. They hate it when I'm drying cheesecloths because I got cheesecloth leaving all over the house. I don't dry it in the dryer. If I think that I'm going to use cheesecloth and like I'm going to use it on something dairy, I will put my dryer on high, put my cheesecloth in, and run it after it's been dried. Okay. That just sterilizes your cheesecloth in a little bit safer way.
But you had mentioned a particular cheesecloth that you use too. You don't just use the cheesecloth to get it safe way.
No. Because that makes really good fire starter. Yeah. Wrap yourself up.
All the items and tools here are sold at Outfitters.
I believe you have everything. I'm not sure. I think your cheesecloth is even 100 trade.
Your girls know?
I think I checked the other day. And yes, they even have a higher grade cheesecloth.
All right, well, thank you, Barb and Wanda. We appreciate that. Great topic, lots to learn. I know you guys have been sitting here for a very long time, so I'm going to do my drawings. The girls will give you guys a coupon on your way out, so you can save some money. Make sure to come on over. If you need a new canner, if you need new supplies, if you need new boots, whatever. And then if you didn't get a handout and you want one, you put your name on the clipboard, put a star by it, and we will email it to you guys. So make sure to do that.
Do I have a ticket?
You got a ticket or forgot one? All right. Put your name on. Everybody else, are you all in here? Go ahead and put your name on there. We're going to draw. So some of the things that they were using, we're going to give away. This is some laminated paper. You put it down on your countertops, and it just makes it real easy to wipe it off, and you don't have to worry about anything on there.